Thank you. It is wonderful to be here in Worcester among so many friends, so many supporters, and the most energized Democrats in the United States. Massachusetts is the home to the greatest force of grassroots activism in our country. Our advocates, our phone bankers, our door knockers, our get out the vote army is second to none. You are the reason we have the greatest all-Democratic delegation in the United States Congress, including the fantastic Jim McGovern here from Worcester. And I am so proud to be here with the greatest partner a United States Senator could ever ask for, the tremendous Elizabeth Warren. Elizabeth is our warrior for the working class, and today we see so clearly the sacrifices that our working families are making to keep the lights on, food on the table, a roof overhead. Americans are hurting with higher costs at the grocery store, at the pharmacy, at the gas pump. Democrats are fighting for fairness, and I believe that Joe Biden and Kamala Harris are meeting that challenge. It is hard work, but we are doing it. The Biden administration has created 8.3 million new jobs, including the largest year of job growth in American history. We have passed trillions in funding for our states and our municipalities and our hospitals and people who needed it. We rejoined the Paris Climate Agreement. We finally made lynching a federal crime. We ended the ban on openly transgender people serving in the military. We made Juneteenth a national holiday. And now we have the first female black Supreme Court justice in our nation's history, Ketanji Brown Jackson. Elizabeth and I voted aye. Every Republican voted no. All of this is why we need to come out during this election to pass the Fair Share Amendment ballot measure so that we can continue to invest in our schools, in our teacher, in our infrastructure, in a climate-smart way, and ensure that everyone pays their fair share to support our communities. And where have the Republicans been during all of this? They've been in the greatest witness protection program in American history. They have done nothing to help our families and workers, and they've ignored the very real and very dangerous threats to our democracy emanating from their very own party. They have blocked legislation to protect voting rights. They have blocked legislation to guarantee the right to an abortion. They have blocked legislation to ensure equal pay for equal work. They have blocked legislation to lower drug prices, and they've blocked legislation to get dangerous guns off our street. When GOP wasn't standing for gut our protections, it was standing for guns over people. When GOP wasn't standing for gang of polluters, Donald Trump made it stand for gullible on Putin. They want to ban any legislation that would make sure that our government works for all Americans. But we're here to say no more. We don't need a ban on mass mandates. We need a ban on election interference. We don't need a ban on immigrants. We need a ban on Donald Trump on Twitter. We don't need a ban on abortion. We need a ban on assault weapons and high-capacity magazines. We need to make NRA stand for not relevant anymore in American politics. I have an F rating from the NRA. That F stands for failing to pledge fealty to the murderous gun lobby. The legislators who need to answer for the massacre in Uvalde are those with a grade of A from the NRA. Now, I can't say I was always the best student in school, but I think we can all agree what that A stands for. Ashamed that the Republican Party has become the wholly owned subsidiary of the NRA. Ashamed that the GOP has become merchants of death, caring more about campaign contributions and corporate profits than people and peace. And when the Republicans aren't running the NRA playbook, they're running the big oil playbook. They're using the war in Ukraine to lie about the need for oil and gas drilling. They say they have an all of the above energy plan, but it's really oil above all. Their push to use the war in Ukraine to line the big oil pockets isn't about addressing inflated gas prices, it's about inflating fossil fuel profits. We need to change our policy. We need to change our investments. We need an oil change in America. Our fossil fuel addiction is a catalyst for conflict, but a Green New Deal is a pathway to peace for our country. America's future is not going to be found in the dirty energy of the past, but in the clean innovation of the future. Wind, solar, offshore wind, battery storage, all-electric vehicles, energy efficiency, environmental justice at the center of it all. Instead of drill, baby, drill, it should be plug in, baby, plug in, all electric. But we know the hard truth that Mitch McConnell and Donald Trump and the GOP aren't going to back down. And we need to send them a special message from Massachusetts. We won't back down. Not now, not ever. Democrats are not only going to win in 2022, we're going to win because we have a movement, an intergenerational, intersectional, interconnected movement of rural and urban, young and old, black, brown, immigrant, native, refugee, male, female, non-binary, trans, and most of all, mobilized and galvanized Americans to fight the Republican Party, and that movement starts here in Worcester today. Now, more than ever, we need to expand the electorate, getting more people out to vote, especially our young people. Theirs is the future we are all fighting for. And when we let young people lead, when we listen to young people, when we follow young people, that's when change happens. The kind of change that leads to sustainable, livable, and just future which they deserve. Democrats have always been the home to the movements of change. Will you stand for historic change? Will you stand for comprehensive immigration reform, for dreamers, for asylees, for refugees? Will you stand for criminal justice reform and police accountability? Will you stand for Medicare for all and universal health care? Will you stand for a movement that says Black lives matter, Black votes matter, Black lives matter? Will you stand for workers' rights, which is why we need to defeat any ballot measure that keeps our gig worker drivers from organizing and becoming employees? We don't want these anti-union corporate shills at our convention, and we don't want them in our state. Will you stand for reproductive freedom, for abortion rights? We will make Roe versus Wade the law of the land. These are the fights of our time, and no one knows how to stand and fight smarter and harder than Massachusetts Democrats. I am honored to stand with you in this movement for opportunity, for justice, and for our very democracy. Thank you for all that you are doing. Thank you for all that you are going to do in this next year for a great Democratic victory in Massachusetts and across this country. Thank you all so much.